Hello, somebodies. Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Mr. Mafuchi. With me is my co-host who boasts the most, he knows stuff too. It's my favorite letter in the alphabet. Here's Jay.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Alright, so I know what you're thinking. Marriage pros? Really? Yeah, you damn right, really. We've been 20 plus years between us. We've been in the thick of it. We've seen our wives without makeup in the morning and smelled their morning breath. And yet, somehow, we tend to love him more and more on the daily. So, on today's episode, you see the topic, is our spouse our bestie? Well, you got two married people right here that are going to keep it 100 with you. Now, I am very interested to know Jay's situation because he has known his wife a lot longer. Not just through marriage, but I think literally almost 20 years just knowing her. So after all this time, Jay, is the missus your bestie?
Yeah, she actually is my best friend. So, like last night, we were just talking. We put the kids to bed, and what I thought was gonna be like maybe like a 5 minute conversation ended up almost taking like an hour because we went to different subjects. So I was like, oh, but this is what we like to do. We like to talk to each other. So like, if I come home from work, I'm here in the office chilling, watching Netflix or something like that. She'll come in, she'll see if I'm busy or doing anything. I'm like, come on in, I'm not busy. And we'll sit down, we'll chop it up for a little bit, go from different subjects, not necessarily about how our day was, just talking about anything.
All right, so on one end, Jay, to no surprise, well, not to me, but after so much time, his missus is his bestie. Now that's one side. On the other side, we get back to me, and I've been married going on 13 years. I've known my wife 14 years, so if you do the math, you can guess at a couple of things that may have happened to lead to the marriage. But after all this time, no, my wifey is not my bestie. She is my friend. We've been able to get to that situation, reach that plateau where, because of how we started our relationship, I knocked her up. We kind of had to go just spring towards the relationship. We just had to go head on, but we didn't really know each other. What we did know is that we were very, very compatible together between the sheets. But nonetheless, that doesn't make you friends. Heck, we barely knew each other. We're not even acquaintances. So after the 10-year mark, I started to realize, I have more and more conversation with her than anybody else. I don't think even Jay and I speak that often. We're good friends. We're probably almost besties right there, depending on his side. I'm just saying it on mine, but it takes two to tango. Nonetheless, I see her the most. So after going on 13 years, we both agreed that we are friends. Now, it probably will take us another 10 years to get to bestie status, but nonetheless, we are on the path. So, Jay, there's two sides of it. My wife is not my bestie, but yours is. So, it's nice to see that. Do you feel with time that really adds on to having the missus be your bestie?
Not just time, I think personality comes into a play because on paper, me and my wife, you wouldn't think we would go together. I always reflect back on we're completely opposites. I mean, like completely opposites. It's like just based on things we like to do together, like shows we like to watch. It's rare that we like the same thing. I feel like when we are just having a regular conversation where it wasn't getting too deep and then it gets deep, I think it just built our relationship that much more. And we actually just like, I think that's one part of a relationship we actually do like.
Well, it just goes to show, for you somebodies that's watching, I tend to have it on our banner that marriage is not a fairy tale, but here we go. Jay just contradicts me and our show, but nonetheless, it does go to the greater good because it helps the relationship. Now, let's ask another question, Jay, since you do have something good going there for you, and I'm glad to hear it. But nonetheless, should your wife be your bestie, or Should they just remain your lover, the mother of your children, and your companion, or should you try to reach that level? A bestie.
I think all three is important. It's not just it's having a friend who is your wife and lover. That's a special bond and connection. I feel if you have maybe one out of the three, it's not a full blown relationship where you would want it. Like I know a lot of people though based on relationships based on what they see on TV and movies, and that's just not how reality works for most people. They might have two to the three, one out of three. It's not always three out of three. So for us, I like her where I can just talk to her about anything. I'm not gonna worry about her trying to change me, like some women like to change men. I don't have to worry about her. I don't have to worry about her chastise me about anything. And the lover part, that's just the lover part. That's just icing on the cake.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am pretty sure a lot of us are going through that, trying to figure out, because I think on some level, you're choosing a partner that's gonna try to fill a friendship role. But I sometimes see it this way. If I think commonly with the person that ends up being your wife, it starts with an attraction, and you kind of, as a man, want to take it as a lover situation. Now, anything after that, I guess, is icing on the cake, but for the most part, we're guys. We just want to bet her down, and then we'll go from there. We'll figure it out. Nonetheless, that's a lover situation. But once you get past that, and you start getting feelings that us guys will never share with our friends, well, then it could be something special. Maybe. But nonetheless, it does start that way. Now, you put in some years, you put in some roots, and you kind of, number one, can tolerate and stand being with this person for a while. I mean, it's harsh to say, really, but I'll put it out there. You have to be able to be with this person for a certain amount of time and realize if they drive you crazy or not. So I feel if you can get past that, and now with me and of course with Jay, we've been more than 10 years plus, we have proven that not only can we be in the same room, in the same household, even the same city with this person, but also that, yeah, we are with them the majority of the time. How can they not end up being our companion? Of course, it's a given that they're going to be a mother to our children, and they are our main lover, unless you're one of those jerks that are doing something else, and get out of here. But nonetheless, yes, can you, should you try for that? Yes, you should try for it, but if it's not going to happen organically, then you're going to be at a fork in the road, and you're going to have to try to figure out what to do at that point. Now, Jay, if anything, I mean, fork on the road, I don't think that happened with you, but for any of the guys that are right there, do you feel that at some point you gotta have to keep a 100 with yourself as a guy and realize if this is really gonna be something you can continue for the rest of your life and this person?
Yeah, so for that aspect, I think you know when you know. Um, what I do want to say is kind of something I want to ask you as well is like, isn't it better to be friends and then get into the relationship? Not just, okay, I find this person attractive, know nothing about them, don't know their personality. And then like, okay, this is not what I want. So for me, it was more of a, wasn't thinking about dating her initially. I just thought she was cute, you know, thought she was smart. Over time, we just got to know each other, and then feelings just naturally growed, stuff like that. But it can be difficult because you're not gonna like everything about everyone. There's things I know I get on her nerves about, and vice versa. But that's just more of timing, mutual respect. It takes work. It takes work. But once you get that communication style under control, you're good to go.
Now, I do understand the question you asked me. Should you be friends with the person you're married to or are going to take that path. And I'm going to pull transparency. I never had a situation where I was a friend with anyone. Anyone that I could get in the sack, I mean, that was the number one purpose and goal. I never thought about, oh, this is a person I could be friends with, that I can also do what I want as well. So I never did have that situation. So Jay is definitely cut from a different cloth over there because he ended up marrying what essentially became or has always been in some frame, shape, or form his bestie. So good for Jay. I applaud him on camera. That is for sure. Now, as we get back to something else, Jay, what do you feel should be the trait a wifey should have so they can be at the point of getting to the road of bestie?
Traits, I would say basic traits. Honesty, forthright. Me is like I like how my wife she'll call me out. I like how if I say something that's incorrect, she'll like, hey, don't say that in public. This is what it is. Stuff like that. Just be honest with me up front. Like, don't lie to me, don't lie on me. Some basic stuff. And everything else usually just falls into place, but it's more of a, we have an understanding of that aspect.
No, absolutely. I think what you're mentioning is just loyalty, truth, honesty. I mean, those are core values to a marriage. That's for sure. I echo those as well. Keep it real with me. Just stick with me. But at the same time, I feel I need to be able to be myself with this person because I'm going to see you the most, whether you want to see me or not, or if I want to see you or not. It's going to happen. You're going to have your good days and more so your bad days. But I have to be me. And if the attraction was not only physically, but also my personality. Personality is going to go a long way because it sucks to say out loud, but men are more critical. Actually, men and women are more critical of women's aesthetic appeal. And that unfortunately fades, but more so for both genders. Then you're left with personality. I need to keep it 100 with myself. I need you to be okay with me being myself. And I have to, actually, you as the spouse, and vice versa as well. We have to let each other know we do like each other past the attraction. We want both of us to be ourselves and not really change our personality. You can compromise, change everything else, but I need to be me, you need to be you, and if we could keep it that way, then I think we're on the right path. But along also with, Jay said, loyalty, trust, absolutely. Because you break one of those two, at least for me, it's not going to work out. And at the same time, if I feel I can't be myself as well, then it's not going to work out either. And that's going to lead down a different road that none of us want to hear. So, absolutely, hopefully that does help the somebodies that are watching.
One real question for you. When did you think you could be yourself around your wife, or vice versa?
When did I feel? Well, okay. I think last year. We've been almost married 13 years, 12 years. Here's why. The person how I was raised to where, for the most part, I could do no wrong. My wife is the first person that is essentially a mirror to me. So, not only could I be myself after 12 years, but I could truly see who I was and be a better person because she would just show that mirror at me. So that's why it took so long. I was pretty much stonewall. I did not want to believe anything. Of course, I am perfect. I am as good as it gets. But no, that wasn't the case. Once I truly saw what I was projecting out, that's when I realized my wife wants me to be myself. And I am. But also have to realize that I am not perfect. As tough as that is to hear, and sometimes I may not believe, but that's when I truly felt that I could be my genuine self because I will not just encompass my feelings and how I was. I could also think about everybody else. And that's really, I think, when it clicked at me. Like, hey, tone it down on this, but don't tone yourself down, because I'm gonna be real. I can't turn this off. This is me all the time. If you meet me, this is me. If I'm sleeping, this is me. I mean, Jay, you've known me for going on 20 years next year. This is me. So that is essentially when I felt my wife was my friend.
Yeah, I was curious to hear your answer too, based on for the title for the episode. I was like, what is he going to say? Because I had really no idea what you were going to say. I know this would be opposite of mine, but I was like, I wanted to hear like you articulate what you wanted to say. I thought that was gonna be very interesting.
No,
But
but
yeah,
at the same time, and okay, try to not let this get to your head too much. I know it'll get to your head some. I know it would for me, but it is. There are moments when I do envy you just because you have that side where you became friends with the significant other, and you've been that way for the most part. And that's something that not many people have. I don't have the statistics here. I can't break it down like the pie that I introduced, but nonetheless, you have that. You have close to the contradictory fairy tale of this channel. And that is definitely something to be envied for all you somebodies that are watching. That's why Jay has his marriage and I have my marriage. They're two different, but at the end of the day, we want to lead it down the same path of happiness, compromise, and at this point, being friends with the person you live under, under one roof. So we just try to keep it 100 at this point. So I'm glad we were able to share that with you, somebody. So hopefully you're still watching. Maybe you told other people. And I'll say this, and I think Jay will echo it. Make sure to tell as many people as you can. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your frenemies. Let them know that you're digging on a good show right now. And of course, Jay and I will say that this is a good channel, but what else are we supposed to say? Of course, we're in front of the camera. We're going to hype ourselves up. What do you want us to do? Be down here and be flaccid and say, no, don't watch us. We're not even going to perform. No, that's not it. So now, Jay, we come to the part where you throw some wisdom, you throw some knowledge at all these people out there, all different ages. When it comes to being a friend in the marriage, what kind of path do you feel they can take so they can reach that level?
well, it has to be on both parties. I feel a strong marriage is one with a good friend foundation. So if you don't really have that, you really don't have anything because the relationship will run its own course. I know some people who are married where they are miserable in their marriage and it's hard to look at. And no one wants to leave either because they have kids with the person, either business arrangement as far as the person needs a green card, or it's just better for them financially. I say if you want to have a successful marriage, build the friendship first and then escalate to a relationship, escalate to other parts of the relationship. So if you don't have a friendship with the person you're with, you don't even like the person that you're with, the relationship is not going to work.
No, definitely, Jay. You're getting real with us. You're talking about real situations. You even brought in immigration, which kind of touches at my heartstrings. But all right, I like the fact that you are just fully transparent. You just throw it out there because nobody else will, and that's why you're here, Jay. And as always, I definitely agree with what you say. On my end, I will say this: try. You're gonna meet a whole bunch of people. And once you get past the sex phase, because that's going to happen. We're guys. That's what we're supposed to do. But once you get past that, if there's something you like about this person, I see it this way. If you're going to have a day where you're not going to get in bed with her, you're not going to perform coitus, but it's not going to be a disappointment. And if that's the case, I feel you realize at that point, I just like being with this person. And hopefully that's because of the compatibility with personalities. You know, everything be damn about what your background is or where you come from. It's all about how you feel between each other together. And again, if it's not disappointing, I think you're on the right path. All right, so with that said, this is the Marriage Pros. We have shared our knowledge, shared our wisdom, and of course, I did keep my promise that Jay was absolutely in this shirt and tie, looking damn good and upstaging me yet again. So I'm going to have to get off the camera and cry myself to sleep tonight again. But nonetheless, he did not make a liar out of me, and you guys get to see the eye candy. And if you're not on YouTube or you just want to hear us somewhere else and not look at us, more so me, then you could always listen to us on Spotify, put us on the radio, put us in your office, put us anywhere you want. We are there for you. We are whores here. Just put us everywhere. So, with that said, I leave you with this. Guys, if you're taking this friend situation seriously and you're looking to kiss your bestie, just make sure you tell them, okay? So, Jay, I kind of have something to talk to you about after the show. So,
Okay.
this is the Marriage Pros. This is Mr. Mafuchi. This is Jay. We will see you next time. So just stay here on YouTube and wait for us for next week. And we will see you later, guys.
Later.